15 sudah lama.
Apa ini tanda tangan kerja saya?
Siapa dari
Wakil dekan SD.
oh iya.
The Honorable, the Dean of Faculty of Law of Universitas Hasanuddin, Professor Dr. Hamzah Halim SH MH MAP. The Honorable guest speakers of today's Studium General, Professor Stefan Koos from the Universität der Bundeswehr, München from Germany. The Honorable Vice Dean, Head of Departments, Head of Study Program, and also lecturers of Faculty of Law of Universitas Hasanuddin, and also all the audience and student of Faculty of Law Universitas Hasanuddin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, and good morning to all of us. Welcome to the Studium General with the theme of the digital paradigm shift from human-centered to the hybrid legal architecture, conducted by Faculty of Law of Universitas Hasanuddin in collaboration with the Universität der Bundeswehr München. I'm Fauzia Mardia, will be serving you today as your Master of Ceremony. First of all, let's offer the praise and gratitude to the presence of God because of His grace, love, and mercy that we are able to gather to attend of today's Studium General. Therefore, let us open our event today with reciting Basmalah. The next agenda will be opening remarks by the Dean of Faculty of Law of Universitas Hasanuddin, and also to open today's Studium General to Professor Dr. Hamzah Halim SH MH MAP. Time is yours.
Thank you, MC. Profesor Stefan ini lebih jago bahasa Indonesia dari kita ini sebenarnya. Cuma karena ini kuliah ajan profesor, saya harus sambutan dalam bahasa Inggris. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and regard. Allow me as the Dean of the Faculty of Law, Universitas Hasanuddin University, to express our pleased and proud for the return coming of Prof. Stefan Koos. Thank you, Prof. Stefan Koos from the Universität der Bundeswehr, München, to our faculty in giving the Studium General with the title, the digital paradigm shift from human-centered to hybrid legal architecture. The arrival of Prof. Stefan Koos give a sense of reinforcement for use on campus and in the legal community with the emergence of artificial intelligence in everyday life and how its regulation and impact will be in the future. I quote that ACMIP will have two sides, namely helping and on the other hand can be determinant of not being used properly. For that, it is very important to listen and increase our awareness, especially in the legal area, on the rapid dynamic of the artificial intelligence use. I hope that Prof. Stefan Koos in this 1 week arrival will provide many insight for use at the Unhas Faculty of Law and can support the force of joint program from the campus of the Universität der Bundeswehr, München, and Hasanuddin University Faculty of Law. I am also proud to say that Prof. Stefan Koos has also helped in aiding our academic reviewers and will also implement the thematic research group, TRG, which we hope will have a joint publication as its output. thus as his various activities here beside educational activities during his time here. I really hope that Prof. Stephen Koos will not only come to Makassar to conduct educational activities, research, and joint publication, but of course will always feel comfortable and feel lacking something if they goes to Indonesia without stopping by to Makassar. Last but not least, I congratulate you on the birth of your second daughter. Your daughter become an intelligent child like her father and mother. Amin. Thank you again, Prof. Stephen Koos, and don't forget to enjoy Makassar culinary. Hope God always with you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Thank you. Katanya saya diminta membuka, padahal biasanya dibukakan. Baik, dengan memohon rahmat, petunjuk dan perlindungan pada Tuhan yang Maha Kuasa, ya, pemilik seluruh sekalian alam, serta atas izin kita semua, masuk Prof. Stephen Koos. Saya berharap kuliah umum ini menjadi momentum terbaik buat anak-anakku sekalian untuk mendapatkan wawasan, pengetahuan, pengalaman dari Prof. Stephen Koos. Ini kesempatan yang langka, gunakan dengan maksimal, bangun jejaring dan beliau orangnya ramah, baik. And Profesor Stephen Koos ini lecturer in Faculty of Hasanuddin University. Beliau adalah adjunct profesor Fakultas Hukum Unhas. Semoga dengan kehadiran beliau memperkuat Fakultas Hukum Unhas untuk kemudian lebih maju lagi ke depan, dan saya harap kita mengikuti ini dengan sebaik-baiknya. Barangkali dari sini bisa ada judul skripsi nanti yang lahir atau tesis dan disertasi. Dan untuk itu mari kita membuka acara ini dengan bersama-sama mengucapkan basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lebih dan kurangnya mohon dimaafkan. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your remarks and your willingness to open of today's Studium General. The opening remarks by the Dean of Faculty of Law of Universitas Hasanuddin also become a sign of the end of today's opening ceremony. So before we jump into the main agenda of today's event, we humbly please to all the audience to stand for a moment for the documentation purpose. Jadi kami menghimbau untuk teman-teman untuk stand up for dokumentasi sebelum.
I always share this thing.
So here, we are going to witness the main agenda of today's event, which is the material presentation of the guest lecture by our distinguished speaker, Professor Stefan Koos. This agenda will be led by Mr. Ahmad Fahri Faki, SHLLM, as the moderator. Without any further ado, we would like to please to Mr. Faki to moderate today's session. Time and stage is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to welcome you all of this special event, this Studium Generale session hosted by our faculty, the Faculty of Hasanuddin University. I am Ahmad Fahri. I will be your moderator for today. I am a lecturer here from Civil Law Department. Today's topic in our Studium Generale is very significant with main theme, challenges for the law and the digital globalization, relation between technology, sovereignty, and the law. In an era where digital globalization transforms every aspect of our lives, the relationship between technology, sovereignty, and law present complex challenges and opportunities. Our distinguished speaker from Professor Dr. Stefan Koos joined us from Universität der Bundeswehr München. Prof. Koos is an expert in civil and economic law and served as an adjunct professor at law faculty at Hasanuddin University. His profound understanding of the intersection between law, economic, and technology make him unique to provide us valuable insight on today's topic. Today's session will be into two main segments, and the first segment will be deliver his presentation, and the second segment we will continue to question and answer session. Now, without further ado, let us warmly welcome Professor Dr. Stefan Koos. We are grateful for his time and expertise, and we look forward to an engaging thought and provoking presentation. Prof. Koos, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak. Aku mau bilang juga terima kasih kepada Bapak Dekan atas appoint saya adjunct professor. It's a great honor. Dan saya suka berada di sini hari ini dan punya kesempatan ini berbicara di depan Anda sekalian. Tapi saya pindah ke bahasa Inggris sekarang, ya. Because untuk berkuliah mungkin belum cukup ketenggahuan tentang bahasa Indonesia. So I was modifying my presentation a little bit. The topic talks about the relation between technology and sovereignty. This is a long time research aspect of me. So you find about this already also two articles in my ResearchGate under my name, which are open access. One article from some journal in Semarang is all in English. So if you want to go deeper into the material, you can just find my article and then repeat that. Yeah. Today I want to point out, because we don't have that much time, I want to point out some aspects which is a little bit more going beyond that, because I always like to apply the knowledge of what we have from the digitalization and from the cyber law to the general principles of the law, and ask me what will the change in the society, and then in the end of the day in the law, because the law is Kendali Masyarakat, yeah. Law is for conducting society. So what will it do with our society? And I identified 7 main points for that, and I want to talk about these points today. Also, maybe we will end some errors we have about some issues in the digitalization. The first point I want to discuss with you is the ambivalent role of data in the future. And this sounds on the first side not so innovative. Yeah, oh, data protection, we know all this, and data is important, and yeah, and data are monopolization, and so, but data is much more than that. It's much more than people sometimes await. Data is actually the only thing which counts, and the only thing, or the main thing, which is relevant for all the issues in the digitalization, in the digital globalization. Why? Because the data are the prerequisite for everything, for every power aspect of the future if it comes to the digitalization. You need the data for the platform, for opening new markets, for closing markets. Data are opening or making possible monopolies. So in the platform economy, we know this very good, that all the rules of the hukum persaingan usaha are changing with the amount of the data. If you have the data, you can close down neighbor markets, you can avoid that new markets open, and you can be highly monopolistic. So European Union and the German law already started to integrate that into their antitrust laws, and law number 5, 1999, not yet. So it's not yet adopted, but it is absolutely important. But moreover that is that the data also are, of course, the main factor, for example, for the so-called revolutionary AI. Because AI, as we have it now, I said that in my last lecture already, AI as we have it now, it's not at all something revolutionary. What we have now is just an old concept of machine learning powered by the new capacity, big capacity of storing data, collecting data, and processing data, because we have the computing power, which they didn't have in the 60s. But the principle of machine learning was well known already long. Just what changed is that we can store this vast amount of data, and the more data we have, the better the system, the AI system works. So if we all the time complain about, wow, the Americans have now ChatGPT, they have Claude, they have Gemini, and we don't have that, we will be dependent on these platforms. Yeah, there is something true in it, because they were able to collect it with a vast number of data. They just power their systems with their data. They just fill it out and flood it with data. And it is, of course, difficult and expensive to store that all. The main factor of the future is the electricity for all these computing centers, yeah, to store data, as you know, yeah, maybe this is the expensive thing. And the time factor, how to collect this data in short time. If you want to speed up with the Americans, it will take us long time to collect all these data to train our own systems. But I will show you that is maybe not the main point, but we will see. This is not innovative. Yeah, this is really not innovative. What makes it powerful is the amount of data. So I want you to understand that data is the main issue. And it is not only an issue because of Perlindungan data pribadi, data protection. This is traditional view. It is an issue also because of the aspect that data can be used as payment. It is important as an issue that data must be opened to competitors to open markets. And that's why it's ambivalent. Because on one side, data are a power element. We must make it open to competitors, for example, to not having closed, monopolized markets. On the other side, we want to let the data disclose under protection, and we do not want to open it and disclose it to everyone, because there is the data protection aspect. So the data protection aspect and the data opening aspect from the competition view are ambivalent, are working against each other, right? So we must find an equilibrium between allowing data access and limiting data access. And this applies especially to AI, because AI is not developable without data access, or also other exclusive rights like copyright. How you train AI system if there's copyright and the copywriter can forbid the access to the copyrighted data. So if you want to have good systems, we need to access a lot of data. If the copyright is too limiting and too monopolistic for the one who has the right, the copyright, how we develop our systems. So there must be a rethinking of the exclusiveness of data, of the exclusiveness of intellectual property rights in the interest of innovation. And this is ambivalent. It must be equilibrated. The second important aspect is connected with that. Monopolistic large language models might find limits. So I mentioned before that because of the high computing capacity and the high amount of data they used for training, someone called that statistic on steroids. The statistic is the old system of machine learning, is just statistical learning. Yeah, it's just pattern recognition. Language models don't understand anything what they say. They just, if you say, I don't know, Weihnachtsbaum, a German word, you will not have an idea what Weihnachtsbaum means, right? But of course you can learn to pronounce it. But you have no understanding about what you say. It's just speaking something, yeah? And the same happens to these systems. They don't understand a word what they write you. They just speaking something. They just putting something statistically together. There's no understanding. There's no logic. But yes, we are afraid of the monopolistic issue because we cannot so fast train our system. So who has the power? America. And if America gets more and more egoistic and doesn't want to collaborate internationally anymore, they can maybe blackmail us with that technology, yeah, because they have the hands on the AI. Is that dangerous for us? The question is the investment, and we see it already in the stock market, is the investment in these big large language models really profitable for these systems, for these companies? Yeah, so they invest a lot in this storing and collecting the data, but will it ever pay back? Nobody knows. I think the CEO of Alphabet said, we don't know if it ever pays back what we invest here, but we cannot afford to not invest. Means we don't know, yeah, if the others have it all, and then it's too late for us. We must speculate what happens, but we cannot afford to be the last one investing it, because if it is important later, then we want to play in the game. Yeah, but nobody knows if it really pay back. And there's good reason to believe maybe for these companies who are the developers of the big foundation models, it will not pay back, because it will be commodity. It will be like commodity, like gas production or oil production. Anyone use this and anyone needs it. It's very dependent on a world market. But the big profit is not made with oil or with gas, but with the high sophisticated products we make with the commodities. Yeah. So as it will be commodity, the consequence of that will be that maybe the competition authorities all over the world will regulate it and force them extraterritorially to open their platforms for small developers using these big basic platforms to develop specialized system, for example, in the medicine or in the legal tech and so on. And that is our chance as Indonesia, as Germany, as France, as Japan, who did not yet invest in the big basic models, but we can specialize us and we can develop special models based on that. They will not be able to forbid us the access, because it will be an essential facility for everyone. So this is a prediction I do. I think there is good reason to believe that in the future it will be not so problematic for us. Yeah, so they will have to give us access. A third aspect, very important and very much connected with the question of risk assignment, which is the overwhelming question of liability law, to whom we assign risks of dangerous systems or dangerous organizations. Risk assignment is the basic thing you have to learn if you're a student. Don't understand laws systematically only as data protection, AI law, civil law, I don't know what else, yeah? So, or hukum persaingan usaha and so on. You should see it always in the interconnections with each other, in the whole system. It is complementary to each other. You see that we cannot understand in the future copyright law or data protection law without understanding the property aspect of, for example, data. Data is not only privacy law and therefore something from the constitution of the human rights and the freedom of the individual. Data is also an asset, a payment asset, for example, because if you give your data to the platforms, it doesn't mean that you get the platform for free, because you pay with your data, and this is an asset. Yeah, so you must see all in interconnection, but also you must see what is law for, and the question of who is responsible for something and who is liable for something is the main issue in the next future, when we have more and more systems and organisms where we cannot anymore foresee, because of the complications they have in their organizations, what will happen and who will be responsible individually. We cannot say in a global supply chain, for example, with hundreds of suppliers until it comes to the end product. I mean, alone this phone here, I don't know how many suppliers are here, and until the TIMA in Banca, yeah, which is used for items here. We cannot, as CEO of Apple, foresee each human rights product problem in this supply chain. So how can we make someone individually responsible? Of course, we can make individually responsible someone in the Chinese company if this burns and they did not treat their workers in a safe way. But if we want to make the company Apple, for example, or a German company responsible, that is not individually possible. We need approaches for organizational safety, and moreover, we need approaches which force the responsible person to design an organism or a technology in a way that risks are, as possible, minimalized. Yeah, we cannot avoid the risks in advance because we cannot foresee which risk will arise in the future, but we should have the duty to make a design of the technology to minimize risks, and we have the duty to observe the technology over the whole life cycle and analyze for future risks, and then we should mitigate these risks before the risks really realize. And this is the approach of safety by design and default, which we have in the European data protection law, for example. It means before you bring a platform open, you must minimize the risks for data privacy. And you must make it by default. You cannot wait until the citizen choose, I want to protect my rights here. It must be from default protected. Yeah, and unfortunately, Undang-Undang Data Perlindungan Data Pribadi does not have safety by design and default, not integrate. I have no idea. They copied a lot of the data protection regulation, but not that article. I have no idea why. But this is an issue because if we talk about dark patterns, for example, dark patterns are psychologically influencing selling strategies to consumers. See, now comes the consumer protection into the game. Yeah, and they are powered with AI in the future. How you want to protect with data protection law this if you don't have safety by design? Safety by design is necessary to handle dark patterns because you should design the platform to avoid psychological tricks to trick customers into contracts, for example. So it's a proactive safety measurement, and it is important for avoiding risks in the future. And it will be more and more important because the structures will be more and more complicated, so nobody can foresee. For example, in the AI, even the IT experts, even the programmers of an AI algorithm don't know how the AI will process the training data to produce a certain result. I saw a caricature about explain me simply what is AI, and the guy paint a bender or a tally, yeah? This tally on one side says input, and then it goes and they make like this, and then there is a sign for a question, and then comes out output. So you put something in the training data and there comes some output, but nobody knows how the system, how the AI, the large language models has processed the training data to get exactly that result. How we can control that? Nobody can control that. And if the systems get more and more even self-learning and self-changing, it's even less possible. This means the programmer cannot be responsible for issues of the use of the AI, and because they cannot foresee it because it's a black box. And if it's a black box, we need, of course, instruments to control risks or to try to find risks before they arise. And the same, and the next aspect, which is very important, is behavioral legal concepts. Is that really the next point, or did I make it too fast? Right, film it? No, what is it? Safety by design. Yeah, it's correct. Sorry. So behavioral legal concepts come to their limits. This is an aspect of disruption in the law. Disruption is a big word, right? Indonesia loves this word disruption. All the time I hear, oh, there's disruptive, this is disruptive. And especially my colleagues from economic faculty love the word disruption, because in the economy, there are a lot of disruptions. Television was disruption, the train was the disruption, cars are disruption, internet was disruption. But for us in law, there was no disruption so far. No, not a single disruption. We use legal codifications from 19th century in 2024 without disruption. Internet was not at all disruption, even if some colleagues want to make themselves interesting to writing articles. The disruption of the law by the internet, there was never a disruption, because internet was nothing else than changing the speed of the communication, but not the idea of the communication. The institutions of the contract, like an offer, like acceptance of the offer, like contracting, it doesn't matter whether you put it into, you do it in the internet, or you do it by telephone, or you do it by a pigeon bringing the letter to someone. It doesn't matter, just the speed change. This is not disruptive at all. We did not have ever to change the basic institutions of our law just because of the internet. Only details. But now we have disruption, because, for example, if we make a contract, and the contract is made by two algorithms, and we talk really of future independent algorithms. We don't talk about anticipated declarations of will. Of course, I can have an AI, and the AI gets programming that it must detect whether there is enough of the product in my stock or not. And then if the AI detects there is not enough of the stock, it makes an order. This is not really autonomous contracting. This is just anticipating declaration of law, legal declaration of the human being, which is telling that the AI should do it like this. Yeah, but if AI really is independent contracting, some people think, yeah, easy peasy, yeah. So they write articles about the contract by AI, and then they say, yeah, okay, we make analogy to the contract of human being. But this analogy is very dangerous. Why? Because our contract law is based on private autonomy, contractual freedom. Private autonomy, again, is not just understandable, limited to private law. It must be understood in the whole concept of the law. And that means it is based on a freedom concept, which is again based on the human dignity in the Constitution, and over the Constitution, even in the natural law. Private autonomy is an instrument of the individual to be free and to apply freedom in the law, in the legal transactions. And if you say, okay, then we have not a human, then we have AI doing the contracting to an AIs and make contract. Of course, you can make the analogy, but then you leave the basis, the constitutional basis and the philosophical basis of the law. And this is dangerous, because then it's not consistent anymore. So, or we say, okay, we don't care. We make pragmatically, we just make the analogy that you can do that, but I'm not a friend of that. I think what we need in this case, and this is why I say it's disruptive, because this is really not anymore able to be integrated in the law system as we have it. Then we must make an AI contract law sui generis of its own kind, understanding that it's not the same like a human contracting. Yeah. So this is one aspect where we see behavior. Of course, behavior is the main element of the law. Of course, what is law else than conducting behavior? Law is based on trust. We trust someone, that's why we make contract. We trust the law, that's why we feel protected. And it is based on conducting of behavior of societies and of individuals. For what is law else? Law is not just a definition. Law should have a purpose, right? It is kendali masyarakat. And that means it is a behavioral, humanistic background we have here. And if AI is not behaving, of course it's not behaving, it is determined, it's not fitting to AI. As long as it's only used as a tool, no problem. But if it's not used as a tool, but as an actor, then we have a problem. This is really disruptive. And the same happens in algorithmic decisions, for example, in competition law. Imagine AI is harming competition. We have already cases where AI observe markets and then the AI see, okay, there is a competitor gone, and then the AI adapts the price automatically. We had a case about German airline Lufthansa raising the price within seconds because the competitor was gone. Then the antitrust authority in Germany investigated that. This is the KPPO of Germany, is Bundeskartellamt. And the Lufthansa said, we didn't do anything wrong in competition law. It was the algorithm. It was not us. So hiding behind the action of the algorithm, right? That cannot be. Of course, we cannot accept that. You cannot hide. We need, first of all, concepts, how we assign the risk of the algorithm to someone. This is the idea of the electronic agent and of agent theories and so on. But moreover, we must understand that we come to the limits with behavioral concepts, like in the competition law, where we talk about anti-competitive behavior, abuse of dominant position. This is all humanistic. This is all behavioral. I behave anti-competitive, but AI is not behaving. So with that concept, we cannot go on. And we need also other aspects of misbehaving in competition. For example, AI, which is observing markets. Well, okay, adapting prices is not forbidden. Of course, I can adapt my price if I see that my competitor adapts the price. Yeah. So price adapting is not for itself a forbidden aspect, right? But if we are having an AI, the AI will be much faster and more effective than any human being. It means it will be a disequilibrium in the equality of weapons. So the human being against the machine algorithm. The algorithm always wins. It is depending. This is also applying to consumer protection relation between competitors. Competitors will manipulate you with AI. They will know your emotions. They will make dark patterns. They will trick you. They will understand when you are weak, how willing you are to pay more money or less money. They will adapt to you, and then will also influence markets by this. So this is equality of weapon. Of course, we can make the equality of weapon again if we also use AI to detect the risks. Yeah, but this is of course an issue. We need new actions and new facts for the law. For example, integrating the aspect of speed. Yeah, or in the copyright law, we have a similar thing. Is it forbidden? Is it forbidden to make with AI certain works? Well, no, but if you make millions of works in 1 hour and flood the market, I mean, no human being can do it. It's equality of weapon. Yeah, this is a really really disruptive problem. The shift from individual to organizational liability has also to do with the complication of the future organizations and the future technologies. Because as I mentioned before, nobody can foresee what happens. Nobody can foresee how to control something. We will come more and more to the limits of the individual liability and the individual guilt. I cannot know, as I mentioned before, as a programmer, what my AI will do, what my AI will damage. I cannot know, as someone in a big organization, what will happen in the, for example, supply chain. This is why we must come more to diffuse responsibility concepts like compliance and governance concepts, which are more facing to organizational liability, and that will lead to a growth of accreditation agencies, certification agencies. There's also a dark side of that, because the dark side of that is that companies actually responsible will try to hide behind documentations and certifications. Yeah, this is a problem, but in another sense, we cannot handle that, because how you want to be held someone personal responsible in a system which is for nobody foreseeable, uncontrollable. Yeah, very important for all of us, because in every lecture is a question. Also in the lecture at 9 o'clock was a question about that, how we can deal with the future challenges of the digitalization and how we can protect and how the state should protect ourselves. You all we are still much too dependent on legislation. We trust still a lot in legislation. Here, maybe a little bit less, because some people say, yeah, this is not enforced, this is not enforced, but people really think, wow, data protection law is really protecting me. But nor data protection law, nor AI law, nor anything else in the digital law will really save protecting you. Why? Because there is no sovereign power anymore of states, because there is no territoriality anymore. Sovereignty means power over your territory. And if there is no territory, or no control over territory, or no control over the borders of your territory, how there should be power, and so how there should be sovereignty. What I mean is, if you have a platform and this platform is disturbing, because or the people who use the platform is disturbing your inner order, your legal order, you can of course forbid that. But if the platform is not afraid of the consequences of a break of your law, then they will not follow it. And then you only have to choose to censorship, between censorship, closing the platform, but whatever you can do. And if you are a relatively free society, censorship might be not an option. I mentioned before that the former Vice President of the United States threatens European Union now. He said, European Union plans to regulate Twitter, or X, yeah? Now we know that Elon Musk is big friend of Trump, and they want to protect him, so they threaten us. If you regulate X as European Union, we might not want to be member of the NATO anymore, not protect you and sell you to Putin. That's how powerful we are. And that they threaten us with that means that European Union still has a certain power to molest the platforms. If that happened to Malaysia, Malaysia would not be threatened by United States, because nobody will care in the platform responsible how about the law in Malaysia or in Brunei. If Brunei doesn't want that something is in the public, in the social media, okay, they will, we forbid it, but then the platform say, yeah, so what? Okay, or they fine us, okay, no problem for us, yeah. They will not leave the market, and Brunei can try to make censorship, of course, but that's it. But European Union is a market of more than 400 million people. They want our market. They need our market still. So there is an economic interest in complying with our rules. And that is the reason why the platforms still pay the fines the European Union applies, or 1.4 billion, I think the last fine to, I think, Alphabet. Because they want to keep our market. When some years ago, Mark Zuckerberg said, we will leave maybe the market in European Union. We will not address the market European Union anymore, because we cannot comply with their data protection rules. Anyone laughed in Europe, because we knew Mark Zuckerberg will not leave our market, because it would be economically not responsible for him. It would be not a good idea for him. Musk is not really interested economically. Musk just wants to have a power instrument, so it might be a different thing. However, it shows us that on the long term, we will not be protected, because on the long term, the technological companies, these powerful platforms, will not care for national territorial law anymore. They will not respect our law, and they will say, it's anyway extraterritorial. We don't care what you do in Europe, or we don't care what you do in Indonesia. And this means we should end with the idea, wow, the law is protecting us from infringement of our privacy, because we cannot be protected anymore. This is old-fashioned idea, prohibitive rules in data protection, in AI law, and so prohibitive rules are old-fashioned, coming from the 80s. In the 80s, it was still possible. In the 80s, it was still possible, but it's not anymore. And the law, which can anyway not be enforced, will lose trust of the society. And if the society is not trusting in the law anymore, we have an erosion of the law. Yeah, I'll give you an example. When we had the pandemic, I had to teach with Zoom. It was strictly forbidden because of our data protection law. I was not allowed to use Zoom for a public university, but nevertheless, I did it. I was forced to break the law if I want to make my job, because we didn't have a product usable for that in Europe. Yeah, so I'm forced to break the law. I'm not respecting the law. Yeah, and the same happened to many examples, like ground stuff in the aircraft when we enter, and there's boarding by zones, and then the majority of the older people going to Umrah don't know and don't care, and then they always storm to go first in, even it's not their zone, and then this ground staff said, Boo, you must wait, yeah, for your zone. But then after 10 minutes all the time, then the ground staff says, come in. And Koos, me, yeah, is the only idiot waiting for his zone. And when I'm finally in the aircraft, they're already in, and I cannot have a space for my hand luggage. I hate it. So what do I do next? I will not follow the law anymore, right? So this is erosion of the law, of the rules, yeah? And this happens here also. So we should stop that to think that. So prohibitive is anyway not working. So we need concepts for licensing, for understanding data protection, for example, as property. Yeah, property law. So this is my property of data. If they can use it for economical reason, of course I can license it. This is more flexible. And also don't forget one thing. The human being nowadays, the citizen nowadays is not so sensitive anymore, and maybe has not the right to be not observed in the internet. Yeah, because we are homo digitalis. Homo digitalis means we are integrated in platforms, in the globalized platforms, in the ubiquity platforms. This means we are knowing, and we must be well aware that we are observed. And we are not caring. I mean, look what people post in social media all the time. Do you think that would have happened in the 80s of the 20th century, when we had constitutional court decisions where the constitutional court forbid to make census, to ask people how much you earn and how many children you have? Then the people protest and make a lot of trouble, and it was almost revolution, yeah, because someone asked them about the number of their children and their income. Nobody cares nowadays. The people post everything, so the people know they are observed. If you don't want to be observed, then don't participate in that. You must control your data. You must control what you give to them. It is not the purpose of the state power anymore and of the legislation power to protect you anymore, because it's anyway not possible. So we will have a shift from the legal protection to the self-protection. And the law should support self-protection by training the digital literacy, the digital responsibility of the citizens. That will not work for everyone, because there will be always a lot of stupid idiots in the society which will not care. But this is their responsibility. We cannot protect someone who doesn't want to be protected. But anyway, there's another aspect also. Another aspect I also want to mention, at least short, because it's a little bit complicated. There's also the aspect of participation in innovation. We should not allow too restrictive rules if it avoids that we develop innovation. For example, if it's about training of AI, of course we can make a restrictive copyright politics. Yeah, but then we will never have sophisticated AI platforms, and we will lose in the competition. Yeah, so we should find more flexible ways to allow training and development of technology without too strict prohibitions because of individual interests. So open individual interests a little bit to the innovation in the interest of the society. This is a social aspect from the individual to the society. Of course, it must be well equilibrated, and of course, it must be added with concepts of licensing. So, for example, if we force or if we allow that they can use data even if there is no opt-in of the copyright owner, then we must give the copyright owner, of course, a recompensation for the freedom he gives. Yeah, so we cannot just expropriate copyright owners in the interest of innovation, but we can say, okay, standard of the law is anyone can use every data which are open accessible for training unless there is opt-out, yeah, explicit opt-out. But if there is no opt-out, it can be used, but we must have a license system to recompensate the copyright owners, for example, with collecting licensing systems. Yeah, so whenever you train a system, you must pay some sort of a tax to some organization, and that organization pays a certain license to the copyright owners who allow the training, something like that. I don't want to go into the detail, but I think it's clear. We call it in German language Sonderopfer, special sacrifice. So the owner, the individual owner, should sacrifice a little bit of the individual rights in order to help the innovation. And the innovation is in the social interest of the society. Last, and maybe one of the most important things is the AI, the creativity, and the culture. I ask you, what will the AI, the generative AI, will make with the future? Even if it's not that innovative, as I mentioned before, it's not that strong AI. It will not rule the world. It will not kill us. Yeah, because this is just a stupid echo machine. Yeah, a stupid statistical machine. However, you can produce very fast, very much things. Yeah, as a full idiot. Even a full idiot can nowadays make super illustrations. Maybe you noticed that there is not a single illustration in my presentation here. 2 years ago, I had a lot of illustrations in my presentation, all done by AI. Because in the beginning, 2 years ago, many people did not use it yet. And then, whoa, mantap, super presentation. Nobody will care, right? Because we all know any idiot can tell some algorithm, make a picture. Here I upload picture from Professor Koos, make Professor Koos with a banana in the hand. Yeah, so anyone can do that. This is not interesting anymore. And now I want to differentiate from the others. I'm really bored with all these illustrations, and I make these black illustrations with anything on it, yeah, just to transport my idea. What we see here is a phenomenon that we are bored. Because with AI, with generative AI, anyone can produce so many things which were not possible to produce before. Because before, you needed knowledge and you need capacities for that. The word for art in German is Kunst. Kunst comes from können. Können means can. Kunst is the substantive of can. I can do something. So the artist can do. The artist is good in something. Yeah. But in the future, we don't have to be good in something. Yeah. So everyone can make art. Some authors in Germany, I read an article last month. She said the AI will lead to a democratization of the art market, because art was something for the elitary, for the rich, because art was expensive. Doing art was difficult and expensive. Marketing art was making the art expensive, and only people with much money could afford art. But this is over because anyone can make art now. So it's democratization. Yeah, everything nowadays is democratization. But what will this democratization make with our culture if nobody cares anymore, if nobody values it anymore? If nobody values the art anymore, there's not only monetary interest. Of course, I'm interested in money if I say, well, I write a book and sell the book to the market, and then I will have income by the royalty. Of course, but people also make art or creative things because they say, oh, that's interesting. I want to mention something. I want to express something, but of course, they want to be also valued for that. They will say they want that someone accepts their moral right in this, right? But if anyone can do that and nobody values anymore because we are so bored again, and so many books, and how many Harry Potter books now? Thousands? Because it's not Roy Keating writing the books anymore, because some AI is in the future writing the sequels. Masses of sequels. Within 1 week, they can produce maybe 100 sequels and more, right? If human beings writing fan culture, fan sequels, this is also, there's also some authors writing the fan sequels of that. It takes still time until a human being writes a book. So it will not flooding markets, but the AI will flood the market with sequels. And then nobody will care anymore. And sooner or later, we will not be interested in that anymore. And that is corrupting the interest in creativity and also disturbing the markets. We have examples for that. In America, we have some cases, like a case of some photo artists who sue OpenAI and Microsoft because the AI produced pictures very similar to the training data they used. They used the training data, and now it produced something similar. They say it destroys the market of license for the training data. And then we have a case of New York Times against Microsoft and also OpenAI, because the AI produced press texts 1-to-1, same like the original press text. Then they say also, yeah, they use our text for training data and they produce a commercial product with that. The model is commercialized. And what it produces as a result is also disturbing, is also copyright infringement. And moreover, it floods the market. Yeah, it destroys the market. This is a direct competitor to the New York Times. Yeah, so this is dangerous. The question is it really so risky, or is there maybe also an option that it comes in a totally different way? I wear here a watch which is mechanical. This watch loses or wins every 4 or 5 days, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. It's absolutely unreasonable to wear a mechanical watch, right? I mean, there is Apple Watch. Okay, Apple Watch has some disadvantage. I must always charge it, but I can use a G-Shock with quartz. Yeah, it's exact. It has solar. I never have to set it. Yeah, it's just working. Why I use mechanical watch? That one is cheap, but why sometimes people buy mechanical watch for $800,000 if it's not so accurate like a cheap quartz watch for $1? Why? Because the people like anachronisms. People like the historical, the nostalgic things. People like the old classic. People like to use music from vinyl nowadays again. Yeah, it's this old fashioned. I never believed that vinyl will come back. It was in my childhood. I got that vinyl in my childhood. And then came CD. I think you don't know CDs anymore, right? Any one of you ever used CD? Yeah, but this is a long time ago. Yeah, now we use it for putting our glasses on it. Yeah, and then we have MP3. Why people use vinyl? This is crazy. It is not rational. Yeah, sound better. I like the knack, the knack, and so this is not rational. It's not rational. Yeah, but people do it, and they pay a lot of money for that because it costs a lot of money. It is expensive. The mechanical watch are more expensive than the quartz. Vinyl is more expensive than MP3, and so on and so on. I call it the retrocultural reaction. Retrocultural reaction is a tendency in societies where societies strive to have exactly the contrary of what they have, even if it's not rational. Because societies are not only rational. It is same like in the economy. They all the time talk about the Homo economicus. Homo economicus acts rationally, yeah, for optimizing his profit. But we can show that the human, is not rational. Sometimes humans act not rational, and then they don't act in the best interest of the economical, in the economical way. So this is a presumption that people are logic and will use the super effective AI in the future for all, because it's possible that they want and strive for the old things again, because they will be bored. And then the question is what happens in the society and in the markets. It is possible that we will have companies selling us the old things. So there will be editorials maybe who guarantee us that they only sell books which are written by high-paid authors, and there will be certification agencies who can guarantee us, and there will be blockchain technology, maybe with proofs, and I don't know what else. Maybe every day you write some page, you must make a check, and there will be observation of what he writes. I don't know how they do it, yeah, technologically, but there will be the guarantee we will have a work from the really author, the really human author. And I predict you the renaissance of the classic authors. The old authors from the 20th century, 19th century will be read again. The people will love it because the people will be full of the AI works. Yeah, and this is what I think will happen. The question is, will it be good for the democratic development? It's possible that it will be so expensive that only rich people will be able to afford that. And for the poor will be the mass production of AIs. That would be not a good development. Yeah. I don't know what comes up, but what we can say and what we can see here, we must maybe say goodbye to some old concepts of the law and of the theory of why we have law and how law should work. Behavioral aspect, humanistic aspects, and I don't say it's a good development, but I say it's inevitable. I think Of course, we can in the legal philosophy and in the legal ethic, we can say, oh, we must keep the humanism and we should not go to utilitarianism. And I'm not a fan of utilitarianism. I always was opposite to the economical analysis of law, which is, in my opinion, anti-pluralistic. But I think it's not avoidable, because the law will come to the border of what it can handle. And if it is the case, we need new approaches, how we combine the law with behavioral aspect in our personality and our individuality. Yeah, so train people rather than protect people with prohibitive instruments. Understand that we are already cyborgs all. Yeah, why? Because we all use already AI to replace parts of our own creativity. We already combine humanistic acting with determined acting of algorithmic machines. So this is already a sort of cyborg, right? And then in the future, when we have it integrated in our bodies, then it's the real cyborg as we know it from the science fiction. That's why I say you need a model science fiction law in the future. Yeah, because we must talk about when is a human start to be a robot and when a robot is still a human. Yeah, just an example. Yeah, so this is one thing, and this is what I mean with a sort of a hybrid culture. Hybrid culture means, of course, limiting this. We should not dehumanize, yeah, but we must accept there will be always now more and more aspects of technology in our life, in our acting, and this is not evitable. Of course, we are not North Korea. We cannot forbid the use of internet and the use of technology, and we cannot make all the time censorships and close our countries out of the development, because what can be done will be done in the world. And if we are participating in the world competition and we want to keep step, then we must, of course, integrate these technologies. And this is not evitable. Yeah, this is what I mean with a hybrid culture. Hybrid culture means we must combine humanistic law concepts with technological concept. And by the way, also let me mention this, societies who are not feeling perfectly protected by the law because they think the law will not protect them, is not able to protect them, or doesn't want to protect them, are seeking for alternative ways of safety. And what is the alternative way of safety for the modern digitalized society? Digitalization itself. So we will use technology to protect ourselves. We will use technology against AI-induced influencing of consumers by using an AI to detect this influencing. So the consumers will use AI to protect against AI. We have already in the IT, we have hacking by AI, and then the one who hacked is also protected by AI. So we have a fight, a substitute, yeah? There are substitute. There is no humans fighting anymore. There is no hacker. Oh, I'm hacked. No, there will be AI detecting hacking attack, and the hacking attack is done by AI. So the AI is fight. Who has the stronger AI? Not the human being. Yeah, we use technology to protect ourselves. We use blockchain technology to realize smart contracts, because we cannot trust that if an Indian seller and a Chinese buyer will come to a court to enforce the contractual interest. Yeah, so if the seller is not sending the money, the product, or the buyer is not sending the money, you should go to the court. But we cannot trust in the Chinese court if we are Indian, and Chinese will not trust the Indian court. It's much too expensive, and we don't know will we get our right. So what we will do in the future, we will have smart contracts which are executed automatically. Once I trigger the smart contract, okay, the product is there, I trigger automatically that the money comes to the wallet of the seller. Or if someone infringed my copyright in the internet, someone infringed my copyright in some year ago. American influencer in YouTube with 100,000 of followers used a photo of mine. Professor Bohne, my colleague, said, you sue him, maybe he pays you €1,000 or something like this. Of course, I can try to claim and to write him, please, you use my photo, you infringe my copyright, yeah, play that. But if he ignores me, what should I do? Should I find an American lawyer to do that? It cost me more than I would ever get out of that. And the risk is that I don't get my right. Yeah. So of course I tolerate it. What can I do? Yeah. In the future, if someone use our pictures or our text, there will be watermarked, somehow machine readable signals, and there will be bots, AI powered bots, which are roaming the internet, identifying these things. And if they find out, wow, this is a picture, they can already assign this picture to some individual who deploys the bot. And then if the bot is really detecting that, there will be maybe an automatically payment of royalty to by some Bitcoin or whatever, yeah, coming from one wallet to another wallet, without that I have to go to the courts. I used to have a doctorand student who wanted to write about the replacement of the courts by smart contracting. This is actually replacement of the law by technology. Yeah, we use technological issue like smart contract. Actually, the smart contract is not a real contract. It's just the offer to a contract. And when you trigger, you accept the contract. Yeah, from the idea is a contract. But important is it is on the blockchain, and the blockchain is provable. It is transparent. And this is decentral. Yeah, so we don't use the law anymore. We use technology for functions of the law. By the way, it's also dangerous. Yeah, because blockchain sounds good, right? Wow, decentral. We don't need states anymore. This means also we're protected against the influence of state. But on the other side, your data, once in the blockchain, will be ever in the blockchain and transparent to anyone. So data protection in the blockchain, how should that work? There is no data protection in the blockchain anymore. That's why I say bye-bye to these things. So that's for today all. The conclusions, I think we don't have to summarize it again because it was really step by step now. But I think this is giving you an insight about that. I think the whole legal system will soon have to be discussed. Yeah, so we cannot just make analogies anymore or trust that what comes up to us will just be handled with the law from 1848 or 1900, like in Germany. We need new concepts. These concepts already developed. Yeah, you have, for example, already the seed of a legislation in the ITE law, but of course not enough because the electronic agent is not really compatible with AI, not yet, yeah. But the idea of agents, for example, in the beginning starts, and the start will work, but it will not work for long term because if the AI gets more independent, then we have bots roaming around without being controlled by human beings, and then we have really new problems. So that's my conclusion. Maybe we can go deeper into some aspects in the Q&A. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Prof. Stefan Koos, for your insightful presentation. I think I don't need to conclude all the presentation, but I want to highlight some remarks from Professor, like you you said, you say we need to think about some concept of law will be replaced with a new approach, yeah, that can accommodate and that can combine between humanistic aspect and algorithmic aspect. Okay, thank you. I think we will move to the second session. This is a Q&A session. I will open for two students or three. Okay, okay. Please mention your name and your student ID. Okay. Yeah. Okay. One by one. Okay. 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 Thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Makassar. Sorry if my question a little bit out of the topic, but not just a little bit out of the topic because this is related to my thesis. The question is, if we talk about the paradigm shift digitalization, we cannot inseparable from cryptocurrency. Yes, cryptocurrency. In the context in cryptocurrency, we talk about some application now offer a crypto loans like in the past, people, if people want loans, they just talk in people like, can I borrow you money? But now we can just like open the application and we can loan a crypto. I want a question about what is your perspective legal and what the legal protection is right for this. Okay. And I want to know in my thesis, like how Germany responds about the crypto loans. Thank you.
This is not regulated, as I know. We have only one tokenization law, as I know. This is tokenization of securities. Yeah, they can be issued on blockchains, but this kind of cryptocurrency loans are not regulated. But I think the main idea is not so disruptive. Whether I gave a loan in cryptocurrency or in normal money is doesn't matter, right? But what surely is different is the factor of trust. Yeah, I'm not obviously I don't have any, I don't know these applications, but obviously I don't have a personal contact. I will not have a negotiation. Yeah, I just click and then I get this cryptocurrency. Is that correct? And how the loaner knows he will get the money back? I mean, what is the safety here for the one who borrows the money? Is there any mechanism? Oh, you must have some money. You must some safety money. Put that in the wallet. Oh, I see. Yeah, it is. This is a typical example for replacing traditional factor of trust. Yeah, by automated mechanisms. Yeah, so you don't have to communicate anymore, and so on. And if you make that, so I cannot say much about that because we don't regulate it. It is maybe not in the interest of the national finance law, of the national banking law. There is, I don't know how to make a safety here. Yeah. So in Indonesia, and also you can use it maybe for money laundering, or I don't know for what is. I think this is also part of your thesis then, right? But we don't have regulation on that. I don't know about that. Sorry, I cannot more into the detail, but it's very interesting. But we see that in some other issues also, that we have this automatization, like we have alternative dispute mechanisms in blockchain platforms. Yeah, so it's just automated. Yeah, and we don't need to talk with any judge. The judge is not talking with us anymore. Yeah, so it's just full automatic. Yeah, it's something which replaces also the control of the state law. Yeah, that's why it's dangerous, maybe. But the question is, can we really limit it? Anyone else?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Anyone
I
else?
think you had a question. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Please mention your name.
Okay.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon, sir and Prof. I want to ask about, for now, maybe we see in a platform like TikTok, many people make funny about someone like our president or our government with AI. But Indonesia, until now, Indonesia does not have a specific regulations regarding AI. So what do you think about this problem?
First of all, the approach in my country is not so that we should make fun about our government. I mean, Indonesia has a different approach here, but if you have this approach, it's a good example for how we can control it, because where is this done? Who did that, right? First of all, you must see that if you want to punish someone, it must be someone being in Indonesia. You cannot punish someone in the United States or somewhere else to make that. Yeah. So this is the first thing. This is not really controllable, and this is rather the problem of how the platforms involved in our cultural and political systems. Yeah. So when I mentioned that the future Vice President of the United States is threatening the European Union not to regulate X, otherwise they will not protect us anymore, it means they want to keep the influence. And as we know, Mr. Musk is not interested really in the economical success of X. Yeah, it was not really disturbing him that it was extremely expensive. I think they use it as a power instrument. And for that, they need to influence our societies. Why Germany or European Union, for especially, better said, wants to regulate these platforms? Because the platforms are involving in our elections, are involving our social systems, they spread hate speech, okay? The problem is that in the United States, they have a different opinion about what is free speech than we have in the European Union. The European Union allows, of course, free speech. For example, we not punish the satirical, make fun about the federal chancellor or federal president or so. This is free speech for us. But it is not free speech, for example, to say that the Holocaust against the Jews in the World War did not take place. This is not free speech, and is correctly not free speech, because this is, for us, absolutely a no-go. We don't allow that. We don't allow that someone negate the killing of millions of Jews in concentration camps. Yeah, but for the United States, this is free speech. You can say whatever you want. In the United States, free speech is even absolutely fake news. For example, if you say there is no corona, drink some, I don't know, some chloride, and that's enough. Yeah, this is free speech. Or free speech is that the world is not round. It's also free speech. And free speech is to say that President XY from country XY committed a crime against by murdering his wife, even if it's a lie. It's free speech. But we don't accept that because it's influencing elections. Yeah. How can we avoid it? By trying to forbid that. Yeah. So what you mention here is the question is, how can we limit the influence of TikTok? And anyone knows TikTok is an instrument of China to involve into the inner affairs of certain countries. Yeah, even if they don't say, "Oh, we make propaganda here." Of course, they have people who make propaganda for them, and then there are stupid people all over the world also. Oh, yeah, it's true. Actually, yeah, it's true. Yeah, making the propaganda for them. And then they use it as a power principle, yeah, triggering it. The same happens to LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, you have also bots. And it is proven that, for example, Russia pays a lot of bots and also a lot of people influencing in the opinions in the social media in Germany, for example, to give the people the opinion, the idea, wow, the majority is of this opinion. Oh my God, I'm a minority. But in the end of the day, maybe the majority is not believing that. But if so many people are of the same opinion, yeah, maybe I'm the minority. Maybe I can think about it. That's the idea. Yeah, for example, wow, Russia is really peaceful and nothing will happen ever. Yeah, well, we should collaborate with Russia. We should collaborate with Russia. And it is not written by German citizens. It is written by people somewhere in Petersburg, yeah, making millions of these postings by influencing of these platforms. Can we forbid that? Yes, we can try. But is it really working, forbidding that? Maybe if we are powerful enough, yeah, to force them politically or economically, the platforms. If the platforms are interested in us or afraid of us, we can do that. United States could limit TikTok if they wanted, yeah. So they try, but even they have not so much options. China limits Meta. It's not you cannot enter Facebook in China. They make some censorship. I have no idea whether you can use VPN there and it works. In Indonesia, the censorship works with VPN, yeah. So the censorship is not that strict, yeah, in Indonesia, because Indonesia basically tries to keep it liberal, not too restrictive, because Indonesia is not a dictator. Yeah, China Russia can make all, and Kim in North Korea can even forbid anyone to use internet. I heard the Korean troops in Ukraine now, they are already busy with porno. I read that in the news yesterday, because they never saw porno, because internet is forbidden, pornography is forbidden, yeah, but internet especially is forbidden, and of course they cannot see any porno. Now they are in Ukraine helping Putin and have access to internet all the time and all the time watching porno. So the Russian army has problem with porno now. I don't know if it's true, but I read it in the news, in serious news. Yeah. I mean, so on the long term, this is not controllable anymore. And some people ask me, especially in Indonesia, I remember in Mataram, someone asked me, Prof, here in Mataram, we have so nice traditional music and dances, and this is so nice. But what we hear all the time is this horrible Western music. Everywhere is Western music and influence. What should the law do against that? And I asked, what you asked me, what should law do against this? Yeah. In the future, this is also the question of the self-responsibility. Everything will be dependent on how strong your culture is. If you want to keep certain strict rules, it's not on me to judge about that. So some rules in Indonesia, I think it's too restrictive, but this is your country and you regulate it conform you to your cultures. And we have other rules. Yeah, for example, we allow people washing themselves under the shower, even if you see a little bit naked body, even in the afternoon. And here it would be maybe already pornography. But this is not the question about should we do that at home. The question is how you can control it. And if you look at Bali, Bali is confronted since decades with a lot of really, really horrible behaving people from a certain Western country, which there are nice people, but there are also a lot of people in Kuta who are not respecting anything there and are all the time drunk and naked and so on and go naked into the temples. And it's even more because you have now a lot of Russians doing the same, even buying whole villages there and putting Russian names on it and don't let the Indonesian police enter and so on. But Bali culture is still the same, like always. And why is that? Oh, they accept that. The tourists, yeah, we can sell a product to the tourist, but they never let them spoil their culture because their culture is so strong. Yeah. So in the future, it will depend on how strong is your culture. If the people prefer to hear the Western music, then they will not hear Dangdut. But obviously, Dangdut is strong because we hear everywhere Dangdut in Indonesia. Yeah, so it's not spoiling all of the culture. And the same happens if the metaverse comes. If the metaverse comes, how you want to control the people that they don't look pornography? You go into a virtual strip club. Will there be Indonesian officer with the avatar of koala bear controlling other koala bears in the strip club? Yeah, how you want to forbid pornography in the future if anyone can roam in the metaverse and can interact with AIs or real person behind avatars which look totally different, which are not really identifiable. It's more and more, it's less and less controllable. And that means there is more and more self-responsibility. If you want to be protected, then don't use it. Yeah, and if a state wants to or a culture wants to be protected, then you should cultivate your culture. Yeah. So TikTok is a problem, of course. Yeah, but I think really. We cannot really forbid that. Another one.
Okay, I think this is the last one. Yeah. So, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hauram Jamesha, and first I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to Professor Stefan for their remarkable insights shared today. But however, there are still a few points I am curious about in your explanation. To be honest, the concept of hybrid legal architecture is relatively new to me, and it represents a fresh perspective on our current legal system. And at a glance, this concept appears to resemble a puzzle that forms a new legal framework by integrating various pieces of existing legal source. And it seems like a progressive approach that aligns with the opportunities brought by modern technology. You discuss a great deal about data and especially the ambivalent role it plays. And this leads me to a question about how our hybrid legal architecture can inclusively serve the interests of different parties, such as data owners, data processors, companies, and others. And at the same time, you can see that this concept is vulnerable to conflicts stemming from the integration a different values. And this seems likely to create a bias and complexity, especially for people like me as law students, not to mention that our society tends to prefer simpler legal concepts. And I think that's my question, and thank you very much.
That's very true. Everything was easier before, right? When I studied, and your mata kuliah is still in this tradition, yeah? You have data protection law, you have consumer protection law, you have contract law, you have intellectual property right, you have competition law, and me same, yeah? So it was data protection law, and I understood always as an aspect of individual protection of personality. But it is not, as you say, it's much more complicated nowadays. And this is unfortunately like this, but we cannot, what can we do? Yeah. So the world is more complicated. Maybe that leads to populism. Yeah. Because many people don't understand at all anymore what happens and are afraid or are worried. And then they seek for easy answers. You as a law student, you cannot await easy answers. You must understand interconnections nowadays. As I meant, especially the data shows that very well, that especially the data are a connecting aspect of many, many parts of the law. Yeah. Or I give you another example. You still differentiate between consumer protection and competition law. Yeah. But unfair competition law is also consumer protection. Consumer protection is not, law number 8/1999 is not mentioning any competition law aspect. Is misleading consumer. And then also what happens if you buy a defect product. This is law number 8/1999. Then you have law number 5/1999 about competition law. It's just antitrust law, abuse of dominant position, cartels, and so. But actually, understanding the consumer not as an individual which can be harmed by some action of the seller, but understanding the consumer in its economical purpose and economical task as a definer. What is the good product in the market? Yeah, what is the fair competition? If the majority of the consumers understand well and are sovereign well, they make a good choice, and making a good choice by many consumers will be reward and incentive to good competition. So consumer has a competition purpose, but this is not integrated into the idea of the consumer protection law. So you must see this in this nowadays world, you must see it in a more integrated way. And consumer protection is also data protection. In the future, consumer protection will be fulfilled by data protection. And data protection, again, is connected with antitrust law, because antitrust law is fining antitrust behavior, misuse behavior of dominant position. And if you have many data, you are dominant, and you abuse the dominant position if you disclose it, if you not use the data in a fair way. So this is all connected. This is indeed very complicated, and this is what you must do, what you must learn. Yeah. So you cannot, with a traditional approach to learn law, you cannot await that you will be successful in the future, in my opinion. So, and even anyway, I would, if I was you, I would define very well what is your perspective of your job, of your profession in the future, because we will see a big change in the professions of lawyers. Yeah. How will the notary of the future work? Will we need high-paid lawyers who fly around the world to make mergers and acquisitions? Or will we have just a little bit controllers who control the results of some detecting systems or some AI systems? The future will not be producing texts anymore, producing contracts anymore, producing scriptsy anymore. It's not relevant that we write in the future articles. It's not relevant. Writing an article is not relevant, because article writing is not about aesthetic. Article writing is about transfer of knowledge. Important will be that the results of the AI we use for our article writing are well controlled and well prompted. So important is in the future the idea and not the result. And that is a shift in the work of all of us. Yeah, I always say plagiarism is anachronistic, because any idiot can feed an AI with a lot of articles of someone else and produce something totally new without making plagiarism. I don't have to copy an article of someone else. I just feed the AI and tell the AI, write me a new text, and nobody will see it is actually the ideas of others. But it is still not a creative idea. So if the creative idea comes from me and I use the AI full to formulate the text, what is the problem here? Nobody will care anymore about that because it's not about the aesthetic of a research article. But as you see in, for example, in the poesy, in the artwork, in this, there is the aesthetic. This is a different thing still. But in the future, your work will change. Yeah, you will produce results from AI, from generative AI, and the future task will be put in your creativity by prompt and control. And if you have no idea about what you do, you should not use the AI at all. You must know what you await and to be able to control what happens. So this is complicating the future, but you will be lawyers, you will come to companies, you will be and your work will change dramatically from what you await now. You will await it to produce in a percentage of the time much more than people will await it to now. So if I'm working now in a company, my boss will give me a task, they will give me 3 days for it. And I'm very critical. I don't want to use AI because I don't want to. This is not creative. I want to make it myself. But the standard will be the one who used the AI, and they can do it in half day. And then you cannot say, but I don't want to use the AI. I need 3 days. You will be fired. The speed of the work will change. You will be much more working in short time. Don't think you will spare any time. This is all not so nice, right? I would also prefer to live in the 80s again. Honestly, yes, even without internet, yeah. In the 80s, not every idiot could be a journalist, yeah. If you wanted to make some idiot idea, you had to write to a newspaper and they did not print it. That so-called democratization of opinion is leading to a lot of populism and a lot of fake news and I don't know what else, yeah. Sometimes I watch videos of the 80s when I was studying and I was thinking, wow, I feel so cozy, it's so nice, the 80s, yeah. But what can we do? We live now. I cannot change it, yeah. So I always say in every lecture about AI, I say, if you face that will come a monster which will threatening you, is it better to know the monster before to know your strategy, or is it better to not your monster? Better to know your monster to know the strategy before what will happen, yeah? So better you learn about that because you can anyway not avoid that it comes to you. That's my advice to the complicated world. But the world will be more and more complicated, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you very much for the question and answer. Because we are on the lunch time and praise time, I think we must end our session today. Thank you very much, Prof, for your insightful discussion. I think we do hope we'll have another occasion like this in the future to make our student becoming more aware about how they must change their paradigm about the concept of the law. Can we give another big applause to the professor? Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. And then I am Ahmad Fari Faki as your moderator today. I'm sorry if any vote for me, and I handing over the session to the MC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad Farifaki as High LLM for the moderator today. All right, before we come to the end of this session, we would like to give the token of the appreciation to the amazing speaker. The certificate will be handed over by the head of International Department of Faculty of Law Hasanuddin University, Ibu Dr. Birkah Latif SH MH LLM. We humbly call you to the stage. Thank you so much. Finally, we have come to the last of today's agenda of the Studium Generale, which is closing. Let's close over today's session with reciting Hamdalah. We kindly told the participant you can scan the barcode above and to getting the certificate. And we would like to thank for all the participants to attending to today's events, and we apologize if there's intentional and unintentional wrongdoings during this event. We sincerely hopes that any lesson of today's event can be useful for us in the future. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.